Welcome back to Car Vibes. Today we are diving into a true classic from a golden era, the 1960 Plymouth Fish Cube, a car that stands out for its unusual design philosophy and the kind of bold creativity that defined mid-century American automobiles. This was a time when manufacturers experimented with form and flair, and the Fish Cube embodied that daring approach by combining Plymouth's engineering with styling that was unlike anything else on the road. It is a car that not only catches the eye but also tells a story of innovation, risk-taking, and a brand that wanted to stand out in a crowded market. Looking at the front, the Fish Cube greeted drivers with a face that was both charming and futuristic for its time. The wide grille stretched across the nose, filled with chrome bars that gleamed under the sun, while the Plymouth badge sat proudly at the center. Circular headlights were mounted at the edges, giving the car a slightly playful expression that matched its quirky name. The hood featured subtle sculpting, with lines flowing back toward the windshield, creating a sense of motion even while standing still. The bumper was bold, chrome-plated, and carried hints of the jet-age design language that so many cars of the era embraced. From the side, the car had proportions that were boxier than most competitors of the time, giving rise to the Cube in its name. It was a compact yet tall stance compared to the long, low cruisers that dominated the 1960s market, and this uniqueness became part of its character. The body lines were straight and strong, with minimal ornamentation, but chrome trim around the windows and along the rocker panels added a touch of sophistication. The wheels sat tucked under wide arches, giving it a sturdy and planted look. The unusual shape was not only about standing out but also about maximizing interior space, something Plymouth quietly promoted with this design. At the rear, the Fish Cube continued its distinctive styling with squared-off tail fins that were smaller and more practical than the exaggerated fins of the late 50s, but still present enough to tie it to the era. The taillights were integrated into the fin design, glowing like jewels at night and giving the back a futuristic appearance. The trunk was broad and functional, with a chrome handle and the Plymouth script written proudly across the surface. The bumper once again carried heavy chrome plating, and the overall stance from the back was both quirky and commanding. Inside, the Fish Cube was surprisingly roomy for its dimensions. The upright shape allowed for excellent headroom, and the wide bench seats could comfortably carry passengers in both the front and back. The dashboard was a blend of simplicity and flair, with a large speedometer sitting behind the steering wheel, surrounded by chrome-trimmed knobs and toggle switches. The materials were typical of the era, with vinyl upholstery and painted metal surfaces, but Plymouth added small touches of elegance, such as patterned inserts and bright chrome accents across the dash. The steering wheel was thin and wide, carrying the Plymouth emblem at the center, and the view out of the car was commanding thanks to the upright windshield and large side windows. When it came to performance, the 1960 Plymouth Fish Cube was offered with a range of engines that reflected Plymouth's strategy of giving buyers options. The base models came with a modest inline-six engine, providing adequate power for city and highway use while keeping costs down. For those who wanted more performance, V8 options were available, adding real muscle to this otherwise practical-looking car. The ride was soft and comfortable, tuned for cruising rather than aggressive driving, and the steering was light, making it easy to handle in traffic. With rear-wheel drive and simple suspension, the Fish Cube wasn't about performance thrills, but it delivered reliability and usability that buyers of the time valued. Fuel economy was reasonable for the era, though by today's standards it seems thirsty, but what it offered was a balance between style and substance. In terms of pricing, the Fish Cube was positioned as an affordable, slightly quirky alternative in Plymouth's lineup. It was never meant to compete with luxury sedans or performance coupes, but instead carved its niche as a practical car with a personality. Buyers were drawn to its distinctive look and the fact that it offered good space and reliable mechanics at a fair price. Today, the Fish Cube has become a collectible, not so much for its rarity of engineering but for its unique place in design history, often drawing attention at classic car shows for its unusual lines and memorable name. For those considering the Fish Cube as a classic car purchase today, the suggestion would be to appreciate it for what it is, a rolling piece of history with character and charm. If you're looking for raw power or modern luxury, This won't deliver, but if you want a conversation starter, something that reflects a bygone era of experimentation, it's an excellent choice. Restoring one can be challenging due to the scarcity of certain parts, but the end result is a car that never fails to turn heads. Enthusiasts who value originality will love it, while custom builders might see it as a perfect canvas for retro-modern projects. In conclusion, the 1960 Plymouth Fish Cube remains a fascinating and eccentric chapter in automotive history. Its bold exterior, spacious and quirky interior, reliable performance, and approachable pricing made it a memorable car in its time, and today it stands as a collector's item for those who love cars with personality. It was never about blending in, it was about being different, and in that mission, it succeeded. That wraps up our review. Thank you for tuning into Car Vibes, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth reviews of both classic and modern cars that continue to shape the automotive world.